Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're going right into the heart of one of the world's most incredible texts of wisdom, the Bhagavad Gita.
And our sources frame this text in a really specific way, not as just some historical document, but as an avakal samvad.
Which means an unbroken perpetual dialogue, right?
Exactly. It's this ongoing conversation happening on, of all places, a battlefield. The Samrangan, meant to guide the struggling human spirit, the Jivatma, back to its duty.
And we are zooming in on a very specific part of that conversation today. Chapter 8, Akshara Brahma Yoga.
Which is a kind of philosophical synthesis. It really connects everything that's come before, all the stuff about action, about knowledge, and it sets us up for, well, the biggest question there is.
The transition out of this life.
That's the one.
So our mission for this deep dive is, let's say, twofold. First, we have to get clear on 6 pretty complex terms Krishna just dropped at the end of Chapter 7.
Brahma, Adhyatma, Karma, all the big ones. Anaputa, Adidaiva, and Yajna.
And second, and this is maybe the most critical part, we need to understand the mechanics of what happens in those final moments of life. The prayana kala.
And Arjuna, he just dives right in. His questions in the first 2 verses are just this incredible display of focus. He basically asks for the entire cosmic org chart.
He wants to know what all those 6 things are, exactly.
And then he asks the ultimate practical question. How does a dedicated soul, someone who's really trying, manage to know the Supreme at the exact moment of death?
Which is the real test, isn't it? So let's start where Krishna starts, with the definitions. The first pair he tackles are Brahma and Adhyatma. What is Brahma?
So Krishna defines Brahma as Param Aksharam Brahma, the supreme imperishable reality.
Okay, what does that mean in simple terms?
Think of it as this vast, all-encompassing power, a field of existence. It's the eternal current that operates everything in creation, but it itself is beyond being born or being destroyed. It just is. Pure, unlimited existence.
Okay, so if Brahma is this infinite, boundless ocean, how does Adhyatma, which translates to own nature, fit in? This is where I think people get a little tangled.
It's a natural point of confusion, but the distinction is actually beautiful. Krishna says, Adhyatma is swabho achatmam uchaite, your own inherent nature.
My true form.
Your true original form. And the classic analogy here is perfect. Imagine the vast, flowing, unlimited waters of the Ganga River. That's Brahma.
Got it.
Now imagine you take a small pot and you dip it in and you scoop up some of that water, the water inside the pot. That's Adhyatma, the individual spirit, the Jivatma.
So it's the exact same water.
The quality is identical. It's pure Ganga water. But its quantity, its pervasiveness is now limited. It's confined by the vessel. Adhyatma is the universal spirit contained within a particular body. The boundless, now bounded.
That makes so much more sense. It's about scope, not quality.
Precisely.
Okay, so from being, we move to doing. What about karma? I think people have a very specific, almost personal idea of what karma is.
They do. And Krishna's definition here is much, much bigger than just, what I did yesterday.
Bigger how?
Here, karma is the entire universal process of creation. The Srishtiki Prakriya. It's the force, the law, that causes beings to come into existence. Buddha Bhava.
So not just my actions, but all action. The whole cosmic machine.
The whole machine. It's the mechanism that keeps everything running, from planets orbiting to cells dividing. And within that mechanism, every individual part, every soul, has a necessary function to fulfill. That's our duty.
Okay, so we have the universal reality, Brahma, the individual spirit, Adhyatma, and the cosmic law of action, karma. Now for the tangible things, what about Adhuta and Adihaiva?
Right. Adhiputa is pretty straightforward. It's the perishable aspect. The Kshirapava, the stuff that decays. Exactly. Specifically the physical body, which is made of the 5 great elements: earth, water, fire, air, and space. Anything that takes a form, a Buddha, must eventually fall apart. It's the temporary house.
And if the body is the temporary house, then the Adhidaiva must be what lives inside it.
You've got it. Adhidaiva is Purusha, Haridaivatam, consciousness. The text uses the word Purusha, which literally means one who sleeps in the city, or the Puri.
The body is the city.
The body is the city, and this consciousness is the life principle that resides in it, but it's currently, well, it's asleep to its true, unlimited identity. It's the light inside the lantern, but it thinks it is the lantern.
Okay, that brings us to the final, and I think often the most confusing pair, Adhidaiva and Adhyanya. We've said Adhidaiva is consciousness, but it's also sometimes translated as the deities, the devas. How does that work?
It's not a contradiction, it's more of a hierarchy. Think of the Adhidaiva as the powers that govern specific functions of the body city. They are the ministers.
Minister.
Yeah, so the sun is the deity or the force that governs the eye's ability to see. Agni, or fire, governs speech. They're these essential administrative powers making sure the whole system runs.
So if they're the ministers, the department heads, then Atyanya has to be the highest authority.
Absolutely. The prime minister. Adhyanya is the antaryami, the inner witness, the ultimate controller. Krishna says it plainly, I, God, am the Adhyanya in the body.
So while the ministers handle seeing and speaking,
The Adhyanya is the ultimate energy source driving the things we don't control, the non-negotiable processes, your heartbeat, your digestion, the core life force itself. All actions are ultimately powered by and witnessed by the Adhyanya.
that distinction clarifies so much. But now we get to the real challenge of this chapter, the Prayanakala, Arjuna's big question. After understanding all this, how does a person actually attain the supreme in that single chaotic moment of death?
This is the absolute centerpiece.
Yeah.
Because here Krishna introduces what we can call the law of last thought. It's laid out in shlokas 5 and 6. Yamyam vapi smaran pavan.
And what's the principle?
The principle is that whatever state of mind you're in, whatever you're thinking about at the precise moment you leave the body, that determines the nature of your next birth. Tad pavabhavita.
That sounds incredibly strict. Like a lifetime of good deeds could be undone by one bad thought at the end.
It is presented as a firm rule, yes. But think of it less as a moral judgment and more like a law of physics, like the law of conservation of consciousness.
Consciousness has inertia.
It has momentum. If you spend your life intensely focused on one thing, whether that's money or a person or the divine, the momentum of that thought process carries you forward. Your mind is instantly transformed into the nature of its last focus.
That just raises the stakes incredibly high. Let's ground this with that famous story of Jataharta. How does that illustrate this law?
Oh, it's the perfect and maybe the most tragic illustration. Jataharta was this great king. He gave up everything to become a sage of the forest. He was so close to liberation.
Yes, he was doing everything right.
Everything right. But one day, he rescues a baby deer whose mother died. And his compassion, well, it turned into obsessive attachment. He stopped his meditations, his studies, everything to just worry about this deer. Is it safe? Is it eating?
He switched his focus.
He completely switched his focus. So when he was dying, his last thought, his entire consciousness was filled with anxiety for this fawn. And so the texts say his next birth was as a deer.
Wow.
The body was gone, but the mental impression, the samskara, was so powerful, it dictated his new form. It proves that what you attain is a direct reflection of what you habitually think about.
It's a powerful lesson. So if you can maintain a continuous focus on the supreme, which is defined as truth, knowledge, and joy, you attain that nature.
That's the promise, which leads right to Arjuna's next question, the one we all have.
How do I guarantee that kind of focus when I'm still fighting a battle, dealing with stress and fear and just life? How do I make sure I'm not thinking about a deer or my unpaid bills at that final moment?
This is where Krishna delivers the most magnificent practical formula in the whole chapter. Shloka 7, he says, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara yudhyacha.
Therefore, in all times, remember me and fight.
Remember me and do your duty. It's the core instruction for what we can call parallel action.
Okay, I like that. Parallel action. Break that down for us.
It means your body, your hands, should be fully engaged in your work in the world. That's your karma yoga. But your inner world, your mind and your intellect, your mano-buddhi, must be consistently offered to the Supreme.
So you're in two places at once, but not really.
Exactly. Your attention is divided by location, not by quality. And this one instruction beautifully synthesizes all three paths of yoga.
How so?
Well, your body, doing the work perfectly, without attachment, that's karma yoga, the yoga of action.
Right.
Your mind and heart, feeling love and reverence for the Supreme while you work, that's bhakti yoga, the yoga of devotion.
And the intellect.
The intellect, understanding why you're doing this, knowing the nature of what you're focusing on, that's jnana yoga, the yoga of knowledge. It's all three, all at once. Thinking, feeling, and doing, all aligned.
So the goal isn't to cram for the final exam. It's not about forcing a thought at the last second.
Not at all. It's about living a life where that divine thought is already the default setting. If you practice this continuously, you remove all doubt asanshay. Your mind gets so used to that anchor that when the body finally lets go, your consciousness just follows the path it already knows.
Of course, achieving that kind of focus takes an immense amount of discipline. Our minds are built to wander.
It requires abhyasa yoga yuktana, continuous, dedicated practice. The work is constantly, gently bringing the mind back again and again, making sure it doesn't wander off. Na'ani kamini chitasa, you're building mental muscle memory.
There's another really insightful story our sources mention here about Dattatreya's guru, the Bringy insect.
Ah, yes. That analogy is so powerful for understanding transformation through focus. The bringy is a type of wasp. It captures the caterpillar, puts it in its nest, and then it just focuses on it, buzzes around it, stings it. And the captive caterpillar becomes so intensely, single-pointedly terrified and concentrated on the wasp that it transforms. It actually takes on the form of the bringy itself.
Just from the intensity of the focus. It doesn't matter if it's love or fear.
The focus is what drives the transformation. What we focus on, we become. Which brings up the next obvious question.
Yeah.
What exactly is this supreme thing we're supposed to be focusing on?
Right. Krishna anticipates that and gives a kind of checklist of its attributes in Shloka 9. Let's go through these.
Okay, so he describes this ultimate reality as, first, Kavi, the omniscient one who knows everything, then Puranam, the ancient one, without beginning or end.
Eternal.
Then Anushasitaram, the regulator, the one keeping order in the universe, and Anuranayamsam, subtler than the subtlest atom. So small it's immeasurable, yet it sustains everything.
It's a lot to hold in your mind.
It is, he continues. Sarvasya Dattaram, the sustainer of all. Aditya Varnam, luminous like the sun, shining with its own light. And finally, Tamasa Paristat, beyond all darkness, beyond all ignorance and delusion.
It's a staggering list. But he also includes the term achintya rupam, unthinkable form. Now that seems like a contradiction. How do you focus on something that's unthinkable?
Yeah, that's a common sticking point. But achintya doesn't mean impossible to think of. It means not limited by thought.
Huh?
It's unthinkable because our senses, our eyes, our ears, and our intellect are just too limited. We only perceive a tiny sliver of reality. We can't possibly grasp the whole thing with this limited sensor package we call a body.
Which is why so many paths suggest starting with a form you can think of.
Exactly. You start with a chosen form, a second form, that you can connect with emotionally and intellectually. That form acts as a bridge. The intense focus on the form eventually purifies the mind so much that you can begin to grasp the formless, the nirakar, that lies behind it.
This deep dive has really, I think, unlocked Chapter 8. We've defined those 6 core principles, from the universal Brahma right down to the inner witness, the Adhyana.
And we've been given an incredibly powerful formula for living: parallel action.
Mind and intellect offered to the divine body, fully engaged in your duty.
It's liberation through integration, not by running away from the world.
And the real payoff, the immediate benefit of that practice is that it frees us from our own inner chaos. When you focus on the avikari, the immutable, the divine, your own vikaras.
Your anger, your envy, your anxiety.
They just start to melt away. That cleansing, that's the real freedom you can feel right now.
It truly is. It all just boils down to a choice you make in every single moment. We are constantly choosing which current of energy to plug into, the pure, eternal flow of Brahma, or the chaotic, fearful stream of our own negative thoughts.
So we'll leave you with this final thought to contemplate. Since your sustained focus dictates your transformation and ultimately your future form, knowing that your reality is being shaped by the momentum of your mind, what will you choose to intensely focus on right now in this moment?